शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष मां 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 शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष माम्
ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। शारदा शारदाम्बोज वदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधे सन्निधिं कुर्यात्। सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम भारती करुणापात्रं भारती पदभूषणं भारती पदमारूढं भारती तीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनय सम्पन्नं भीतराहं विवेहिनं वन्दे वेदान्त तत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखर भारतीं सद्गुरु चरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। Namaskaram all. Welcome to the another session of Dharma and Nyaya Shastra by Dr. Jambunathan ji. First of all, happy Father's Day to everyone. Let's go and get started. Jambuji, please.
Namaste. Thank you, Srini ji, and thank you all for attending today. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Shuklam Bradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Sadarbhujam Prasannapadanam Dhyayet Vignopasantehe Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Gurum Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Thank you for all joining the today's session of Dharma Sastra Nyaya Shastra. Nyaya Shastra session today is unavailable. Padmanabhan ji had some family emergency and he couldn't participate today. So we'll have the Dharma Shastra session, and today we will be covering, continuing on our Manusmriti. We have been doing the third chapter of Manusmriti, which is talking about the Grahastha Dharmas. The second chapter of Manusmriti was talking about the Brahmacharya Dharmas. As we know, the Varnashrama Dharma, we have Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. And the second chapter elaborated on all the Brahmacharya Dharmas. The third chapter is elaborating on the Grahastha Dharmas. And we should remember now the 40 samskaras. This is a very appropriate time to remind all our devotees about the 40 samskaras, which is the rituals which we are supposed to do at this human birth, because the human birth itself is a result of some accumulated punyas and papas, and you are supposed to burn these punyas and papas, and that's why you're taking this birth again. And Lord Krishna has mentioned that several times in the Gita. And the Vedic tradition prescribes 40 samskaras. Samskara means well done. It cleans you up. So what cleans the jiva is called a samskara. So because we have to wash our sins which we have accumulated, janmantra sins, not one janma, several janmas, and those sins have to be wiped, and we do the samskaras. And the samskaras begin all the way from Garbhadanam itself, which we talked about in the first chapter itself. When the Garbhadanam is when the male and the female unite. At that time itself, it's considered a samskara is done at that time. And then we have samskaras, pumsavanam, simandam, during the pregnancy. And then after the birth of the child, there are several samskaras. The jata karma, the punya vachana, the nama karma, and all those things. The jata karma is done right after the birth, and the nama karma is done within after 10 days. And then it goes on like that. Then the next important is the Upanayana ceremony, which is we talked about very elaborately in the second chapter of the Manusmriti, where Manu explains all the different types, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, how the Upanayana ceremony has to be done. And then comes the next after that comes the Samavardhanam, which he just only briefly touches about that. And then he comes to Vivaha Samskara, and he has been describing the Vivaha Samskara before in the few sessions before, the different types of marriages and the benefit of the Brahma and Daiva type of marriages, and how cross marriages, which are allowed and which cross marriages are not allowed. So all those Vivaha itself is a samskara. Now we celebrate Vivaha as a party, but Vivaha is a samskara which is done by all Vaidika mantras to again purify the male and the female. So it's again a Vaidika samskara, and the party part is a smaller part. The Vaidika part is the major part, but now actually we reversed everything. That's a different story. And now we come to after the marriage comes the ceremonies which you continue what is the main dharmas of the grahastha. So after the 40 samskaras, up to the marriage samskara comes only to 14. Vivaha samskara becomes the 14th samskara. Then the Panchamaha Yajnas come, which is what we are going to be talking about today. The Brahma Yajna, the Deva Yajna, the Pitru Yajna, the Manusha Yajna, and the Buddha Yajna. Those are the Panchamaha Yajnas, which are supposed to be Nitya Karmas, everyday duties. So 14 plus 5 is 19. And then there are 21 Homa Karmas, and they are called Soma Yajnas, Havir Yajnas, and there's one which we do in the Upasana. So in the Upasana Agni, which is the Griha, there's a Grisha Yajni, and there's a Smarta Agni, and there's a Shrauta Agni. Shrauta Agni means which follows the Vedic type of mantras and Vedic type of rituals. Smarta Agni means follows the Dharma Sastras and the Apastamba Sutras, Apastamba or Bodhayana Sutra, whichever Sutras you follow. So there are two. So every home is supposed to have two Agnis. One is called the Upasana Agni, which is based on the Smritis. And then the other one is called the Agnihotra Agni, which is the Agni based on the Shrautas, the Vedas, Shrauta Agni and Smarta Agni. There are supposed to be two Agnis burning. And the Upasana Agni is Eka Agni, only one fire. And the Shrauta Agni is three Agnis. There is three different Agnis. Together we call it a Shrauta Agni, is Treta Agni. So Treta Agni is Shrauta Agni and Eka Agni is Smarta Agni. So those are all the different. Our Hindu tradition is very linked to the Agni Karmas. So, the Agnihotram Juhoti, that is a very famous statement. Kumarila Bhattar, even in Mimamsa, starts with that, the Mimasaka expert. So, Agnihotram is supposed to be, and even when Lord Krishna says to Rukmini about the 6 important peoples, Dharuna Agnihotri, Nitya Annadana, Maso Upacha, Pativrata, Sahasra Chandradarshi, and Vedanta Vit. So Krishna says these are the 6 people who are to be respected. One who do Nitya Annadana, who keep giving food donations every day. And the other one is Dharuna Agnihotri, who doesn't miss Agnihotra even for one day, the strict adherent of Agnihotra. And we had a famous actress during my college days called Rati Agnihotri. The Agnihotri name comes from Rati Agnihotri family. Sometimes in the previous past, Rati's family had probably done Agnihotra. That's why that subtitle comes to the name Agnihotri. So Dharuna Agnihotri means one who very rigidly follows the rules of Agnihotra every day. And then the others are self-explanatory. Pativrata means the woman who follows the Pativrata Dharmam. Maso Upacha means one who follows all the fasting rituals, Ekadashi fasting, Somavara fasting, Maso Upavacha. Every Masa he follows the Upavasam very perfectly. Then the Vedanta with one who is mastered in the Vedanta Shastras. And then comes the Sahasra Chandradarshi, one who has seen the 1003rd phase of the moon. So that was we call which happens on the 81st birthday. That's why it's celebrated big. But out of these 6, the top 2, Dharuna Agnihotri, Krishna says these 2 people actually sustain the world. The other 4 people, they sustain themselves, they spiritually grow. But the Nitya Agnihotri, Dharuna Agnihotri and Nitya Annadana are the ones who actually sustain the world. And Krishna says that the Agnihotra people are the ones who actually sustain the world. And you will see in Manusmriti those words exactly coming like that. So with that kind of a broad introduction, the Panchamahayajnas includes the five karmas which are supposed to do every day, but the other 7 things, the Soma Yajnas, the Havir Yajnas, and the Upasana Yajnas, which are the 21 things, most of them are done like twice a month, once a year, once in a lifetime. Like Vajpayam is supposed to be done once in a lifetime at least. It's a Soma Yajna. So some of them are not considered Nitya, you're not supposed to do it every day. But with that introduction to the samskaras and the Panchamahayagnas, which are supposed to be Nitya Karma, which means we are supposed to incorporate this Panchamahayagna as part of our daily routine. So that is why it's called Nitya Karma, because you're supposed to incorporate as part of a daily routine. So with that thing, Sriniji, can you pull up the slokas? We can start with sloka number 66. That's what we finished last time. So this is what I will repeat that sloka, very important sloka. Mantra tastu samruddhani kulanyan alpadananapi kulasankyam chagachanti karshanti sa mahadyashaham. Mantra tastu samruddhani kulani alpadananapi kulasankyam chagachanti karshanti sa mahadyashaham. Mahad Yashaha means great fame. Kulan Alpadanan means less money. Alpam means Alpam, Swalpam, all means less money. So those families which have less money, but mantra tastu samriddhani, but who have more mantras being chanted in their house, those families which eventually get great fame. So that's what Manu is mentioning here. Mantra tastu samriddhani, those kulas who have less money but more mantras chanted regularly, those kulas are the ones who will end up propagating well, and the entire generations will be achieve great fame. So that is why the importance of mantras, our in the Sringeri Gurus insist so much on all the mantras chanting along. You can chant mantras with the homa or without the homa, but the mantra chanting is very integral part of our tradition. People say these days a very famous term, I am spiritual but not religious. I am spiritual but not religious. There is no question of being spiritual without having religion. You have to follow some religion to get spiritual, and in the Hindu religion you have to follow the mantra shastras to get spiritually uplifted. Let's go to the next sloka number 67. Vaivahike agno kurvita gruhyam karma yata vidhi Panchayajnan vidanam cha panktim cha anvahikim grihi. Vaivahike agnau kurvita gruhyam karma yata vidhi Panchayajna vidanam cha panktim cha anvahikim grihi. So it says during the marriage itself. So if you remember, when my marriage was done, we had a 4-day marriage, and we had to do. My father made me do this upasana every day till the first 4 days. They will start the upasana yajna during the marriage. With the marriage fire itself will be used to light up the upasana agni, and with the upasana agni you start doing all the rituals, and you're supposed to continue doing it to the rest of your life, which we didn't do. But basically that's what it says. The Vaivahike Agnav, the marriage fire is used for the Grihya Karma. Grihya Karma again comes under the Smarta Karmas, which is the Upasana Agnis. We should start doing Yatha Vidya according to the rules, and all the Pancha Yajnas should also be started as soon as the life of the Grihastha Ashrama is started. That's what he says. So using the fire of the marriage, whatever Homa fire during marriage, use that same fire to light up your Grihya Karma Agni. Follow all the rules and regulations, and on top of it start doing the Pancha Yajna Vidanam, using all the regulations, follow the Pancha Mahayajnas, and that's what should be done one enters into Grihastha Ashrama. The next sloka is 68. Panchashuna Grihastasya Chulli Peshani Upaskarah Kandani Chaudakumbascha Badyate Yastu Vahayan. Panchashuna Grihastasya Chulli Peshani Upaskarah Kandani cha Udakumbascha Badyate Yastu Vahayan. So here he is telling about the cooking in the house. Manu is starting, is very famous sloka here. It's quoted by a lot of our acharyas in the place. So what I want to emphasize is Manu is telling how you are using your kitchen as basically a slaughterhouse. The kitchen is a slaughterhouse, and imagine the real slaughterhouse where animals are being killed. That's why the ahimsa is very important. And even during all using vegetables and cooking itself, Manu calls the kitchen as a slaughterhouse. So, and he says these are the slaughterhouses, and basically he says you have to remember all the olden day kitchen utensils. They have what we call muram, and then they used to have ulakkai to pound the things, and then they used to have a big grinder, like they call it used to be a mortar and pestle to grind the stuff. And then they have the sweeping. You have to sweep and the floor. And then the water pot. Every house nowadays we have fridge, but in the olden days, you remember, you used to have only a water pot in every home. So these are the important things in the kitchen. And he says all of them are actually somehow kills small organisms in multiples without your knowledge. So you actually build up sin even during your everyday cooking activity. And that is why the Grahastha Ashrama Dharma, we have to do regular activities, because even if you don't do any other sins, even doing your regular cooking itself, you build up sins, because you are killing multiple organisms without your knowledge by using all these various utensils in your house. And this is all with the olden utensils which we don't even use these days. So we probably are doing more harm than good at this time. But that's what he's starting with as next sloka. Tasam kramena sarvasam nishkrutyartam maharshibihi panchaklupta mahayajnaha pratyaham grahamedinam. Tasam kramena sarvasam nishkrutyartam maharshibihi panchaklupta mahayajnaha pratyaham grahamedinam. So he says the sins which you build up have to be removed by doing the pancha mahayajnas. So the 5 things which he listed above causes sins. We all have sins even from our previous janmas. And then there is this is not pancha mahapapa. What we are doing in the pancha mahapapa is very well listed in the Chandogya Upanishad in the Samaveda. There is a chapter on Vaishwana Agni where it is clearly listed what are the pancha mahapapas. The pancha mahapapas come under Brahmahatya, Soranasteya, Gurutara Gamana, Surapana, and association with all the above, which means killing a Brahmin, a learned scholar, is considered a high sin. Sleeping with the guru's wife is considered a big sin. Stealing gold is considered a big sin. And drinking liquor, surapana, not somapana, surapana is considered a big sin. This is now everywhere. Surapana is now proliferated, and even in the Bhagavatam it says where the place the liquor is sold, there is one of the places where Kali stays. So all the 4 are considered Panchamahapapas, and one who is associated even with those 5. So even if you didn't do any of the 4, but you are having friendship with somebody who did Brahmahatya, you are having friendship with that Gurutara Gamana, you are having friendship with one who did Swarnasteya, that is also Panchamahapapas. So those are the Panchamahapapas. So we have these Panchamahapapas, and then we have the papas which we build in the kitchen, and we have papas which have accumulated from previous life. So all these sins can be wiped out only by doing this Panchamahayajnas regularly, and that's what is the opinion of Maharishis. Manu is telling, according to the great Maharishis, this Panchamahayajna is supposed to wipe off all the sins. Okay, let's go to the next sloka. Now he is beginning to list them. Adhyapanam Brahma Yajnaha, Pitru Yajnastu Tarpanam, Homo Daivo Balirbauto, Niryajno Atiti Pujanam, Adhyapanam Brahma Yajnaha, Pitru Yajnastu Tarpanam, Homo Daivo Balirbauto, Niryajno Atiti Pujanam. So, Adhyapanam and Adhyapakam, learning the Vedas and teaching the Vedas is called Brahma Yajnam. So you have to do some study of the scriptures every day. So the Vedic scripture reading is called Brahma Yajnam. And that's why when you do your daily Sandhyavanam, there is a one called Brahma Yajnam itself. In Brahma Yajnam, at least, when you do the Brahma Yajnam ritual, which takes literally 10 minutes, you will at least chant the first 4 mantras of the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharvana Veda. It will be there. Agni Purohitam Yajnasidem Rutvijam Hota Aram Ratnadadamam. So that is the Rig Veda, and then all the mantras will come. The Channo Devi Abhishte is the Atharva Veda mantra. So all the 4 Veda mantras, at least if you do Brahma Yajnam, at least the 4 Veda mantras you will chant at least once a day. But you are supposed to do more prolonged study of your own Veda itself. You are born as Yajur Veda, Rig Veda. That is called Brahma Yajnam. Pitru Yajnastu Tarpanam. So you are supposed to do Tarpanam to your ancestors. And there is Tarpanam which is done every day, even as part of Brahma Yajnam. And there is Tarpanam done in special days during Amavasya, Sankaramana, and all those days. So doing the Tarpanas to Pitrus is the second. Homo Daivo. For all the Devas, you have to do Homa. So you have to, that is what the Upasana Yajna. And when you talk about Manu will describe everything in detail. The Ekagni is the one Agni, which is the Smarta Agni, and the Treta Agni, the 3 Agnis, is what is called this Shrauta Agni, the Agni based on Vedic mantras. So both of them actually have rituals for both Pitrus and Devas. And remember, the Sikshavali statement, very important, Deva Pitru Karya Abhyana Pramadi Davyam. The entire Hindu rituals are based on Pitru Karmas and Deva Karmas predominantly. So doing the Homa to the Devas, both in the Upasana Agni as well as in the Treta Agni, which is the Shrauta Agni, is called Daiva Yajna, doing Homas. Nowadays we don't do Homas, we don't do Pujas. Even if you do Panchayatana Puja at your home every day, that is considered a Daiva Yajna only. Doing Sandhyavandanam itself a Daiva Yajna, because in Sandhyavandanam you pray to all Devas. There is prayer for Yama, there is prayer for Vishnu, there is prayer for Savitri, Saraswati, everything is there. So even doing Sandhyavandana is an example of Deva Yajna. Balir Bauto. You have to do Bali to all the Bhutas. The Bhutas are the animals, the plants, and even some of the lower creations. They're all called Bhutas, and for them you do Bali at your home. And again, the term Bali, Bali is commonly misunderstood. Like even when I was young, Bali understood means cutting the animal. When you cut an animal, that is called Bali. But the difference between Bali and Homa is you offer the same rice or something, but if the rice is offered directly in the Agni, it becomes a Homa. But if the rice or anything else you don't offer in the Agni, you directly put it on the floor, that becomes a Bali. So even in temples, you will see they will do Bali every day. They will do Bali in front of the Dwadastambam, everything. They will have a handful of rice, especially when in the Perumal temple, it is very famous. They will take the handful of rice at midday and they will place in separate places in different parts of the temple. So that is called Bali, is when you offer the food or the material directly to the ground or the bhumi itself. That's called Bali. But whereas if you offer the material into the Agni, it is called Homa. So Balir Bauta, for all the Bhutas, you do only Bali, which means you put the food material or the whatever material directly in the different parts of the house. It will be described by Manu in later sections. Niryagno Atiti Pujanam, which means then you take care of your fellow beings. How do you take care of? By doing Annadanam, or Niryagyo means taking care. Atiti Pujanam means taking care of your guests every day by feeding them and treating them well. Hospitality, that is the word I would use. Doing hospitality to people is considered Atiti Pujanam. So those are the 5 important yajnas. So studying the Vedas, doing the Pitru Tarpanams, doing the Homas and Sandhyavandanas for the Devas, offering Bali to all the Bhutas, and taking care of the fellow people with food and hospitality is Atiti Pujanam. Next sloka. Panchaitanyo Mahayajnan na hapayati shaktitah sagrihe api vasannityam suna doshair na lipyate. Panchaitanyo Mahayajnan na hapayati shaktitah sagrihe api vasannityam suna doshair na lipyate. Na lipyate means does not attach. What doesn't attach is no sins get attached to the home, where this Pancha Yajna is done without break according to the capacity. Well, if you are very rich and you can afford, you can do lot of big homas. If you are not able to do, and you can do even the Pitru Pujas, having Brahmanas, 5 Brahmanas to feed in your house and other things. But if not, you can just take some little bit of the tila, which is the yellow and water, and offer tarpana. That is very simple. Even the poorest of the poor can do that. So what Manu is telling is, according to your capacity, If you are unable to do this without a break, for that house, nothing, no doshas get attached in that house. Suna doshair na lipyate. No attachment of any sins in the house where the Panchamaha are done according to the capacity of the individual. Go to the next sloka. Deva atiti bhrityanam pitrunam atmanashchayah na nirvapati panchanam uchvasan na sajivati. Devata atiti bhrityanam pitrunam atmanascha yah na nirvapati panchanam uchvasan na sajivati. The last line is uchvasan na sajivati, means even if he is breathing, he is not considered to be alive. That's what Manu is telling. He puts something in the first line. In the second line he says, this particular person, even if he is uchvasan, even if he is breathing, in my opinion, na sajivati, he is not considered to be living. Who is that? Devata, Atiti, Bhrutyanam, Pitrunam, Atmanashchayah. One who doesn't take care of the Devatas, the gusts, the Bhutas, the ancestors, and even his own self. He has to protect and take care of himself too. One who doesn't take care of all these five is considered to be dead even if he is breathing. That's Manu's opinion. Next sloka. Ahutam cha hutam chaiva tata prahutameva cha brahmyam hutam prakshitam cha pancha yajna prachakshate. Ahutam cha hutam chaiva tata prahutameva cha brahmyam hutam prakshitam cha pancha yajna prachakshate. So he gives a name. Ahutam, hutam, prahutam, brahmyahutam, prakshitam. These five is the name of the pancha yajnas. He just gives them a name now, but we always talk about that the Brahma Yajna, the Deva Yajna, the Pitru Yajna, the Bhuta Yajna, the Nuru Yajna or Manusha Yajna. Those are the five. He gives, there's another term for that, he says here, and he's describing that in the next sloka. Sloka 74. Japo haguto huto homaha prahuto bautiko balihi brahmim hutam dvijagarchya prakshitam pitru tarpanam. Japo ahuto huto homaha prahuto bautiko balihim brahmyam hutam dvijag archya prakshitam pitru tarpanam. Ahuto means without fire. Without fire doing japam. That is basically you're chanting the mantras, or you can even do, the highest part is chanting the Vedic mantras or chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam or even chanting mantras inside your heart. So all these are called japas. Ahuto, that is one type. Huto homaha means one you put in the fire is hutam. Prahuto is bautiko bali. All the balis which I said, which you don't put in the fire but offer directly in the floor, that is called prahutam. Brahmim hutam means dvijagarchya. All the archya means taking care of all the dvijas. Archa means again, he kind of says doing archana for the dvijas means you are actually providing them food and hospitality. That's called Brahmim Hutam. And Prakshitam is Pitru Tarpanam. So Pitru doing tarpanas to your ancestors is called Prakshitam. So this is other name for the Panchamaha Yajnas Manu is giving here. Next sloka, sloka 75. Swadhyaya Nitya Yuktaha Shad Daive Chaivaha Karmani Daiva Karmani Yuktohi Bibartidam Characharam. Swadhyaye Nitya Yuktaha Shad Daive Chaivaha Karmani Daiva Karmani Yuktohi Bibartidam Characharam. It's a very profound statement Manu is making. What he is telling is Swadhyaya Nitya, one who does the Swadhyaya, which is the study of the scriptures every day, Shad Daive Chaiva Iha Karmani, and doesn't forget to do all the the homas or the pujas for the devas. That is the only person. Bibartidam Characharam. Characharam means the entire universe is actually supported by him. So that's what Krishna used to say. One who does Agnihotra is the one who actually supports the universe. That's exactly what is the word here. One who does this Swadhyayam and the Deva Karmani every day, he is the one who actually sustains the Characharam, in the movable and the immovable parts of the universe. So that is the most important thing. So the Deva Karmas are the important, and especially now we can see all the problems. There is Israel-Iran war, there is China-US tariff war. Everywhere there is war in different forms. And all this is because there is faltering in Devakarmas throughout the world. And basically, the one, if the Devakarmas and other things are done with appropriately, that's what our Acharya says. It's not my opinion, but that's what they say is often is the only when the Devakarmas are very short, in the world, that's when all these problems begin to happen. So that's why, once if the Brahmanas do all, that is why the Manu case, even in the second chapter, we talked about it. He says the Brahmanas are the one who are holding the earth. He says they are the one who are holding the earth. And that's why the kings and the traders and the laborers have to support the Brahmanas, because the Brahmanas are the ones who are holding the earth. And he says the Brahmanas are holding the earth because they are the one who have the control of the mantras and the homas. The Brahmanas, by doing Brahmanas performing all the mantra chanting and the homas, they bring prosperity to the world. And that's why they are the big supporters of the world. That's why in all our Swasti mantras we say Go Brahmanebhyo Swamastu Nityam Loka Samasto Shukino Bhavantu. That's how we end most of the Swasti mantras. Go Brahmanebhyo Swamastu Nityam Loka Samasto Shukino Bhavantu. Go is cow. Brahmanas are Brahmanas. Where the cows and the Brahmanas are living peacefully, that is most important, for then the world itself will be peaceful, because the cows provide all the homa materials and the Brahmanas provide all the mantras. Between the materials and the mantras you do homas, and that's how the world has prosperity. So that's how it's very important sloka. That's why in our tradition, Go Samrakshanam and Veda Samrakshanam are most important. Whether you go to temple or not doesn't matter. If you protect the cows and if you protect the Vedas, that is enough. And that's what Krishna and Rama did. Krishna exemplified protection of cows. Rama exemplified protection of Brahmanas, because there is a very famous sloka when you read the Aranyakanda. Ramana tells to Sita, if the Brahmanas are wherever any problem, I will not tolerate it. If Sita will tell, why are you unnecessarily going and killing these Rakshasas, Rama? These Rakshasas have not even fight with you. Sita will argue, you are supposed to be very person of compassion. These Rakshasas never even fight with you, but you are going and purposefully killing these Rakshasas. Sita will call him. Rama says, if the Brahmanas are tortured, I won't take it. That's basically Rama says it there to Sita. They don't need to hurt me. If they hurt the Brahmanas, it is hurting me. So Rama exemplified Brahmana protection. Krishna exemplified cow protection. So we should remember that. Okay, next sloka. Agno prastha ahuti samyak adityamupatishtate aditya jayate vrishter annam tataha prajaha. Is a very profound sloka. Agno prastha ahutihi samyak adityamupatishtate aditya jayate vrishter annam tataha prajaha. He says the homas done in all the ahutis given in Agni, if they are done properly, they finally go to Aditya, which is Surya. And from Surya is pleased, Jayate Vrishtir. He gives you profound rains. And with rains, Vrishtir Annam, there is proliferation of food. And with proliferation of food, Tataha Prajaha, there is proliferation of the people. Without food, nobody can survive. So this is very important, because it becomes important because you have to remember Krishna's slokas in the third chapter. I want to quote because very appropriate slokas at this time from the third chapter, Karma Yoga, Bhagavad Gita, 14th sloka. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat annasambhavaham yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajnah karma samudbhavaham karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahma aksharamudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartanti hayaham agahayur indriya ramo mogam parthasa jivati. 14, 15, 16 slokas. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Krishna is telling the reverse way. What Manu is telling from beginning from Agni ends with Praja. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat annasambhavaham yajnat bhavanti parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavah. And the food, from the food comes people. From the rain comes food. From the yajna comes rain. And from karma comes yajna. That's exactly Krishna puts it in the reverse order in the 14th sloka. Basically, he says you do yajna karmas, From the yajna karmas, rain will come. From the rain, there will be food, and from the food, there will be proliferation of the people. So this is the same sloka which Krishna puts in a different way. The third chapter, 14th sloka, and then he tells all these karmas, Arjuna, are mentioned in the Vedas. Just to follow those rules, Brahmam, Nitya, Yajna, Pratishthitam. The whole world is sustained only by yajnas. Remember that Arjuna, and he says, Evam Pravartitam Chakram. The whole cycle of the universe is maintained by this yajna. So make sure you do the yajnas. If you don't do yajnas and eat yourself, you become a stealer. Those slokas also come, but since this is not a Bhagavad Gita class, I'm not quoting all those slokas. But Krishna very emphatically says to Arjuna, the one who is not doing yajnas and giving to the Daivas is actually a stealer. Steyam. That's exactly what he puts there in the Bhagavad Gita. But anyhow, that's kind of the important sloka. Sloka number 76. Let's go to sloka number 77. Yata vayum samashritya vartante sarvajantavaham tata grihastam ashritya vartante sarva ashramaha. Yata vayum samashritya vartante sarvajantavaham tata grihastam ashritya vartante sarva ashramaha. So there is brahmacharya ashrama, grihastha vanaprastha, and sannyasa. He says, like the air, Vayu, the entire universe is supported by, because if there is no air, all of us will die. Vayu is the one who sustains the entire all the jantus, whether animals or humans. Vayu sustains the entire jantus. Same way, the grihastha sustains all the other ashramas. The brahmacharya, he is the one who has to give brahmacharya dhanam. He has the one to give sannyasa, food for the sannyasas. He is the one who has to take care of the vanaprasthas. So he says the grihastha ashrama has got a lot of responsibilities. Like Vayu sustains the universe, all the living creations. The grihastha ashrama sustains all the other ashramas. And if there is another nice, there is a chapter called Sammarga Vidya in the Chandogya Upanishad. That is another important where the same Vayu example is quoted. But Sammarga Vidya, that's again how it says the Vayu sustains it. But there it tells who is the controller of Vayu. So it goes a step beyond Vayu there to explain the Brahma concept in the Sammarga Vidya in the Chandogya Upanishad. But same way, Vayu is given as an example sustaining the all creations. And that's why in the Madhva Sampradaya, if you are following Madhva Sampradaya, for them first Hari, then Mukhya Prana. Prana is more important for them. For them, even Lakshmi is lower. Vishnu, then Mukhya Prana is the second category for them. So the prana is the Vayu. That is why, in Madhva Sampradaya, first importance to Vishnu, second importance to Vayu. Let's go to the next sloka. Yasmat trayo api ashramino jnanen annena cha anvaham grahastenaiva dharyante tasmat jeshta ashramo grihi. Yasmat trayo api ashramino jnanen annena cha anvaham grahastenaiva dharyante tasmat jeshta ashramo grihi. So here Manu is giving importance, or he's telling the jeshta ashrama, the greatest ashrama is grihastha ashrama. He's telling the married householder where he is sustaining yasmat trayo api ashramino, the other three ashramas, the brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. The grihastha ashrama who is actually sustaining or supporting all the other three ashramas. How do he supporting? Jnanen and annena. For the brahmachari, he gives the food. And the same grihastha ashrama only is teaching the Vedas too. So he is the one giving knowledge and the food. And he is the one who gives. He is not giving knowledge to sannyasis and vanaprasthas, but he is the one who is offering the food to sannyasis. We do Bhiksha Vandanam to our Guru. Very famous in our Singeri ashrama too. They ask us to do Bhiksha Vandanam to the Guru. Only the grihastha ashramas have to do the Bhiksha Vandanam to the Guru. So sannyasis also get food only from the grihastha ashrama. So basically, the one he gives, the grihastha ashrama is the one who gives knowledge. The grihastha ashrama is the one who gives food. That is why the grihastha ashrama is the greatest. Dharyante is the one who supports everything. So he is the greatest ashrami. That's what he is telling here in the 78th sloka. Sloka number 79. Sa sandaryah prayatnena swargam akshayam ichchata sukham cha iya ichchata atyantam yo adharyo durbalendriyaihi. Little twisted sloka. Sa sandaryah prayatnena swargam akshayam ichchata Sukham cha iha ichchata atyantam yo adharyo durbalendriyaihi. What he is telling is Swargam Akshayam Ichchata, because in our religion we believe in heaven and we also believe in moksha. Moksha is higher than the heavens. So Swargam Akshayam means one which is the indestructible, which is the highest, which is in when you reach that state, you know there's point of no return for you. Swargam Akshayam Ichchata, one who desires Swargam and Akshayam, and also Sukham Iha Ichchata, living in this life, in the world itself, he wants Sukham. The one who wants to enjoy all the pleasures in this earth and also wants to enjoy pleasures in the heaven and also ultimately wants no point of return, for that person, Durbalendre, one who has weak senses, cannot do those things. So you have to keep your senses strong. And the way you keep your senses strong is not by wasting your senses in unnecessary things. So that is kind of the meaning of this sloka. So he's telling to all the Grahasthashramas, keep your senses strong, because the one with weak senses cannot do all these things. And one who is desiring pleasures in this earth as well as pleasures after life here should keep his indriya strong. The weak one cannot do this. That's what he's mentioning there. So to do all these yajnas, you need body strength. If you don't have any strength in your body, you can do all these yajnas. So basically he's telling, protect your indriyas by having control over them also. Sloka number 80. ऋषय पितरो देवा भूतान अतिथि यस्तता आशास्ते कुडुम्बेभ्यस्तेभ्यः कार्यं विजानता. ऋषयः पितरो देवा भूतान अतिथि यस्तता आशास्ते कुडुम्बेभ्यस्तेभ्यः कार्यं विजानता. So again it says Rishaya, Pitara, Deva, Bhuta, Atiti. It again mentions all the five. The Rishis, the Pitrus, the ancestors, the Devas, all the deities, Bhutas, all the environmental things, the animals, plants, everything, and the Atiti, the human guest. All these are actually expecting something from the Grahastha Ashrama. So that one who is having this Grahastha Ashrama, who is having this family, it is one of the important needs to take care of them. There is a Tamil, I don't know how much of you know Tirukural. Tiruvalluvar says, Tenpulattari, there is a sloka which comes, there's a Tirukural which comes, he says, all the same things. The Tenpulattar means one who comes from, he uses the Tamil terms. One who comes from the south. Who comes from the south? Pitrus come from the south, because south is considered the direction of the Pitrus and north is considered the direction of the Devas. So you do all the Pitru karmas, you put everything in your, all towards the south only, you'll do that. So the Pitru, Tenpulattar means the Pitrus. That's how the term Thiruvalluvar uses in Thirukural. He says the same thing like that. He will say all the one who come from the south, one who comes from the north, one who comes to his house, all are dependent on this person. So even Thirukural mentions the importance of doing all these Panchamaha Yajnas. So basically he says all the rishis. So how are the rishis dependent on you? The rishis are not dependent on you in the sense, rishis expect you to remember what they have taught and propagate what they have taught. So that is why the rishis are dependent on you, because they are not living, they are living in some subtle form, but they're not living in the Buddha form, like the gross form like us. So the rishis depend on us to propagate all the shastras. So that's how the rishis are dependent on you. The Pitrus are dependent on you because of the tarpanas only that you give. That's how their food comes. Devas, again, though the Devas can enjoy all pleasures, they get the food only through the yajnas. That's why it says Indra gets very angry if the yajnas are not being done. And all the plants and animals also depend upon you. All the people, poor people also depend upon you. So there's a lot of responsibility. Sloka number 81. Swadhyayen archayet rishin homair devan yathavidi pitrum shraddhaischa nunur annair bhutani balikalmana. So he's again repeating the statements again in different forms. Swadhyayen archayet rishin homair devan yathavidi pitrum shraddhaischa nunan annair bhutani balikarmana. So by doing Swadhyayam, the study of the scriptures, the rishis are worshipped. Archayet rishin. Homair devan, by doing all the homas, sandhyavandanas and the pujas according to the rules, not to what your whims and fancies, according to the rules, that pleases the devas. Pitrum shraddesha, by doing all the shraddam and tarpanas, the pitrus get pleased. Nunam Annair, by giving food to the other people living around you, the people are pleased, and the Bhutas are pleased by doing the Bali Karmanas. So that is what the sloka number 81. Sloka number 82. Kuryad aharaham shradam annadyan udakenava payo moola falairva api pitrubhya preetimavahan. Kuryad aharaham shraddam annadya udakenava payo moola falairva api pitrubhya preetimavahan. So he says, ahar means every day, day after day. You are supposed to do shraddam in different form, it seems. We don't even do once a year, that's problem. But Manu is telling you have to do day by day. Ahar means day by day you have to do this shraddam. How do you do it? Annam, udakena, payo, moola, falair. It gives five entities. By either giving food material, so you can do homas, you can cook food and you the parvana type of homam where you say you tell your father's gotra, everything, and offer the food, cooked food directly in the Agni. So that is Annad. Udakenava means water. Just by water doing tarpanam also you can please them. Payo means milk. You can use milk also to please your Pitrus. Moola means root. And the example comes in Falairva. Moola and Falai comes in Ramayana. If you remember Ramayana in the Aranyakanda, when Rama doesn't know Dasaratha's death, Bharata comes and then informs Rama about Dasaratha's death in the forest. So Bharata has already done all the karmas for his Pitru karmas, whatever the first 10, 12 days karmas for Dasaratha is already done by Bharata. Rama, Lakshmana never even participated in any of those Pitru karmas. When Bharata comes and informs Rama, immediately Rama takes Lakshmana Sita to the Sarayu, the river there. Not Sarayu is in Ayodhya. This is Ganga or Godavari, whichever river is next there. He takes all the three and he offers the fruits and the roots as tarpana to his father and finishes the Pitru Karma right away. As soon as that's how the rule says. Shastra says, in case you are a foreign country or for some reason you did not hear about your father's death or mother's death and you heard, immediately on hearing the death, you should go and finish the ceremony, even if you couldn't finish on the same day. And that's what Rama does. As soon as he hears it, he tells Lakshmana Sita, let's go to the river bank. And he tells Lakshmana to collect all Rama knows all Shastras. He will tell, collect this particular fruit, collect this particular root, because there is no food and all, they can't cook right away there. So he does with that, with the fruits and roots, Rama does the Pitru Tarpanam right away for his father Dasaratha. This is mentioned in the Aranyakanda in the Ramayana. So that's what I want to quote here. So daily, this is Manu saying you should please your Pitrus every day by using at least one of those 5 items. Anna, Udakena, Payo, Moola, Falairva api. Pitrubhya Preeti Mavahan. Please your ancestors. Next sloka. Ekam api ashayed vipram pitriyarte panchayagike na chaivat rashayet sasayet kim chid vaishvadevam pratidvijam. Let me see. Okay. Ekam api ashayed vipram pitruryarte panchayagike na chaivatrashayet kim chid vaishvadevam pratidvijam. Now he is bringing the term called Vaishvadevam. There is an entity, there is one of the yajnas you do is called Vaishvadevam. He says, when you are doing the Pitru Tarpanam, Pitruyarte, when you are doing the yajnas or the shraddhas for the Pitrus, it is preferable to feed at least one Brahmin during that ceremony. Even if it's a part of the Pancha, it's not the annual shraddham. Annual shraddham, you are feed suppose 2 or 3 or 5. This is as part of the Pancha Yajna itself, we are doing the Pitru Yajnas. It is preferable to feed one Brahmana at least, Vipram. Ekam api ashed Vipram. But when you are doing the Vaishvadevam, there is no need of feeding anybody except you do the Vaishvadevam itself. So that's what the slogan means is, there is no need, na chaiva trashet kim dvijam. So when the Dvija is doing the Vaishvadevam ceremony, there is no mandatory rule of feeding at least one Brahmana. But at least when the Pitru Yajnas, you should at least try to feed one Brahmana as part of the Pitru Yajna on that day. So that's what this slokam says. So he's slowly introducing the term called Vaishvadevam. So I want to mention about this. Vaishvadeva comes from Vishvedeva. So Vishwe Deva is, it will come during Sandhyavandan also. The Vishwe Deva mantras will come doing Homa, Pitru Yajna, Pitru Tarpanam also, Shraddham also, Vishwe Devas will come. So the Vishwe Devas are, there is two different opinions, but there is Vishwe Devas according to some of the Puranas are one separate group of Devatas, and they actually come in pairs, two people it seems. There is two Vishwe Devas who come for Nandi Shraddham. There are two Vishwe Devas who come for the regular annual Shraddham. There are two Vishwe Devas who come for Tirtha Shraddham. So like even for different Shraddham, they depute different Vishwe Devas to come, and the names are also given in some of the Puranas. Which Vishwe Devas come when you do Nandi Shraddham, which Vishwe Devas come when you do the annual Pratyabdika Shraddham, which Vishwe Devas come when you do Tirtha Shraddham, everything. So the Vishwa Deva, that is one Vishwa Deva, but the Vishwa Devas also are not only take care of the Pitru Karmas, but they also are part of the Deva Karmas also. So the Vishwa Devas overlap. They are Devas, but they are part of the Devas as well as they are part of the Pitru Karmas. So they are called people who overlap in both ceremonies. And there is a separate entity called Vaishwadevam, which is part of the Pitru Yagam, which we do every day. So that is why he is slowly beginning that term there. Sloka 84. वैश्वदेवस्य सिद्धस्य गृहे अग्नौ विधिपूर्वकम् आभ्यः कुर्या देवताभ्यो ब्राह्मणो होममन्वहम्. वैश्वदेवस्य सिद्धस्य गृहे अग्नौ विधिपूर्वकम् आभ्यः कुर्या देवताभ्यो ब्राह्मणो होममन्वहम्. So he says, for the Vaishwadevam, you can do the sacrifice in the Griha Agni itself, which is the Upasana Agni, not the Shrauta Agni. The Griha Agni, which means the Smarta Agni itself, you can offer the offerings to the Vaishwadevas according to the rules. And then after that, other Devatas, he can start doing the Homa for other Devatas. So he see, Manu is not elaborating on all the Pitrus here. He just gave one example of Pitrus, like they use food or water or fruit or milk or root to satisfy the Pitrus. So now he is coming to describe the Devata Yajnas. So in the Devata Yajnas, because Vaishwadevas straddle between Pitrus and Devas, he mentioned about the Vaishwadevas. And then he says, you can offer the offering to the Vaishwadevas in the Griha Agni. And after that, all the Devatas, you can start doing the Homam in a particular sequence. So now he is coming to the next sloka, sloka number 85. Agne somasya chaivado tayoshchaiva samastayoho vishwebhischaiva devebhyo dhanvantarya evacha. So only people who do the Upasana Agni or the Agnihotram will understand the sequence. Is giving the sequence of offering the Homa. Agnehe somasya chaivado tayoshchaiva samastayoho vishwebhischaiva devebhyo dhanvantare evacha. So the first offering should be Agni. Second offering should be for Soma. Third offering should be combined Agni and Soma. Tayoshchaiva samastayor. A combined Agni Soma should be the offering. Then fourth offering should be to the Vishwebhya Devata. And final to be Dhanvantri. So these are the different sequence when you're offering the things, is giving that. And I'll tell the next two slokas too, because I will finish those two, because again is giving the sequence of these things. We don't even do these devs. So that's why we can't even figure out what he's telling. But once you do that, you will understand the sequence, what he's telling there. Kuhvai cha chaiva anumatye cha prajapate eva cha saha dvao prativyoscha tata shvishtakrite antatah. Kuhvai chaiva anumatye cha prajapate eva cha saha dvao prativyoscha tata shvishtakrite antatah. So he says, Kuhu is another name of Devata, Anumati is another Devata, then Prajapati. So he says after the first offerings, the next offering should go to Kuhu, Anumati and Prajapatyam. Then Dyava Prithivyoshcha means, Dyava means heavens, Prithvi means earth. So you have to offer a combined, Saha means combine the earth and heaven and offer offering to her. So you are offering into the Agni some Homa material for combined earth and heaven together. And then Shvishtakrite Antataha. When you do Homas, you will say Shvishtakrit Homa will come the last Homa. Shvishtakrit Homa, Shvishtakrit. That is the Antataha means at the end, or give the offerings to Shvishtakriti. So that is what he is telling in this sloka. So basically, he is giving the sequence of all the things. And then the next sloka is Evam Samyak Havir Hutva Sarva Dikshu Pradakshinam Indra Antaka Apatti Indubhya Sanukebhyo Balim Haret. Evam Samyak Havir Hutva Sarva Dikshu Pradakshinam Indra Antaka Apatti Indubhya Sanukebhyo Balim Haret. He is giving the sequence of how to give balis here. Then after that he says Sarva Dikshu Pradakshina means you should do, like we do, Prachedishanama, Prachedishanama, offer the prayers to all the directions. So you, because in Sandhya Vandanam, if you do it, you will remember you actually offer prayers to directions itself. There is no Devata there. You offer prayers to, I offer prayer to east, I offer prayer to west, I offer prayer to south. You tell those mantras when you do Sandhya Vandanam. He says that you do a pradakshina and offer prayers to all the dakshin, all the all the directions, and then offer bali to Indra. Antaka is Yama. Apatti is another devata. Indu is another name of moon. Sanukebhyo means along with their parivaras. So Indra with his parivara, Yama with his parivara, Apatti with his parivara, Indu along with his parivara, to all those people in the different directions, you should offer bali. I will tell one more sloka and then we will finish it. Sloka number 88. Marudbhya iti dwari shipet apastvabhya ityapi manaspatibhya ityevam musha lolu kale haret. So it says Marudbhya iti dwari shipet apastvabhya ityapi manaspatibhya ityevam musha lolu kale haret. So Maruds is one, Apas Devata is another one, and Vanaspati Devata. For Maruds, you offer a dwari at the home door, at the door of the house, you offer bali to the Maruds. At the Jalasthalam, you have a lot of, like, people used to have wells and other things. You have some the water containing, now we have water tanks, whatever. At the place of the waters, offer for the Apas Devata. And for Musha Lolu, all your kitchen utensils, Musa Lolu Kale Haret means all your the Ulakai, the Ural, all those things for that place, in that particular place, offer for Vanaspati. So he says these are the Marud Devata, Apas Devata, and Vanaspati Devata. You offer one in the door of the house, one you offer in the place where there is water storage in your house, the other one you offer at the place where there is all these kitchen utensils are there, you offer that. So I'm going to stop with this. Just to, there will be few more slokas, and after that, the more important, like in the next sequence of slokas, Manu will be elaborating actually on the different Pitru karmas, which are very important. He will actually tell how to do Pitru karmas, how to even, what type of brahmanas you should select for the Pitru karmas, and because that's very important. So those things will be covered in the ensuing slokas. But with that, I will stop today about the, all the Panchayagnyas. And he gave the names, he gave a brief introduction to them, and now he's starting to describe each one of them. And with that, I will stop today. Shri Kantaya Kalyananti Etinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalam Koshalendraya Mahaniya Gunaptem Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarva Bhomaya Mangalam.
Thank you, Hari Om. Thank you so much. It was, as usual, very well done. A lot of things about Grahasthasma Dharma. The important part is our Dharma, the Grahasthasma, which most of us here are on, is the most important piece of all the ones. We can give both for all the 3 or the 4 rinas, we can take care of it right here, more than any other thing. So it's like a blessing is how we have to take it. Yes. And it's also a responsibility.
Yes.
It's such an important piece of that. Thank you so much for that. Excellently done. We can open it for questions right after the Mangalam. So let's go ahead, play the Mangalam, Sriniji, and then we'll open up for questions. Thank you.
Mangalam Guru Shri Chandramaulishwar ke Shakti Ganapati Sharadambige Shankaracharyar ke Shakti Ganapati Mahaganapati Sharadambige ke Kala Bhairavar ke Kali Durgai ke Veera Pura Hanuma மாருதி சரணத்திற்கே மல்லிகார்ஜுனர்க்கே செல்வ ஜனார்தனர்க்கே அம்பா பவானி கம்பத கணபதி சண்டி சாமுண்டிக்கே ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ண பகவானுக்கே ஸ்ரீ சக்கரவாசினிக்கே சீதாராம லக்ஷ்மண சகித மாருதி சரணத்திற்கே வித்யாரண்யருக்கே வித்யாசங்கரர்க்கே வாகீஸ்வரிக்கே வஜ்ரதேக கருட ஆஞ்சநேயருக்கே ஸ்ரீவள்ளி தேவ சேனா சமேத சுப்பிரமணியருக்கே துங்கபத்ரைக்கே ஸ்ருங்கநிவாசினிக்கே ஸ்ருங்கேரி புரியில் நிலைத்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே சச்சிதானந்த சிவ அபிநவ நிருசிம்ஹ பாரதிக்கே ஸ்ரீ சந்திரசேகர பாரதி குரு சார்வபௌமருக்கே ஸ்ரீ சந்திரசேகர பாரதி குரு வித்யாதீர்த்தருக்கே ஸ்ரீ சந்திரசேகர பாரதி குரு பாரதி தீர்த்தருக்கே ஸ்ரீ சந்திரசேகர பாரதி குரு விதுஷேகர பாரதிக்கே மங்களம் குரு ஸ்ரீ சந்திரமௌலீஸ்வருக்கே சக்தி கணபதி சாரதாம்பி சங்கராச்சாரியருக்கே சக்தி கணபதி மகாகணபதி சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே ஸ்ருங்கேரி புரியில் நிறைந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே